Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. National Debt Service in Nigeria set to repay IMF $3.32 billion loan by 2029. Nigeria is set to fully repay its $3.32 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund by 2029. The loan disbursed in April 2020 under the Rapid Financing Instruments RFI is set to help cushion the economy from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, including a sharp drop in oil prices and a recession. According to the IMF's latest data, repayment will span from 2025 to 2029, with $446.21 million due this year and about $36.14 million annually from 2026 onward. The IMF confirmed that Nigeria's debt servicing in 2024 reached $1.63 billion, all from principal payments. As of now, the country's debt to the fund has dropped significantly from $2.47 billion in 2023 to $800.23 million in 2024, a 67.6% reduction. Nigeria has no overdue IMF obligations and continues to meet its commitment without financing or restructuring. President Bola Tinubu's reform agenda, such as subsidy removal, exchange rates unification, and improved tax collection, has contributed to macroeconomic stability. With inflation easing, external reserves firming, and economic growth projected at 3.6% in 2025, Nigeria is gaining global investor confidence. And away from that, oil and gas petrol landing cost now 870 naira, I beg your pardon, higher than Dangote's price. The landing cost of premium motor spirits, petrol, has now averaged 870 naira per liter, reported by the major Energies Market Association of Nigeria. And that has shown that this, even as the price offered by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery threatened the margin of fuel importers and marketers alike. According to the Merman, the landing cost of petrol was 872 naira per liter on April 28 and 868 naira as of April 29. On April 23rd, the landing cost averaged 859 naira per liter, indicating that the cost of importing petrol has now risen above Dangote Refinery's announced ex-depot price of petrol of 835 naira per liter. With the landing cost rising, importers of petroleum products seem to be having challenges selling their products at profitable rates. According to Petroleum Price NG, Dangote sold petrol at 840 naira per liter on Thursday, the same price as Metric, Lagos, and Rain Oil. Pinnacle, Mau, Sahara, AO Renault sold at products at 889 naira, while Iteo and IPEC offered PMS fuel for 838 naira per liter. Moving on, salaries and pensions. Wike approved 4.1 billion naira for area council salaries. In the FCT, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has approved 4,166,199.061 from disbursement to the 6 area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. He made the announcement on May 1, calling on council chairmen to use the funds to immediately settle the new minimum wage and outstanding arrears owed to workers. Speaking during the Workers' Day celebration, Wike acknowledged the economic hardship faced by public sector's employees and emphasized the FCT administration's commitment to staff welfare. He listed key initiatives such as prompt salary and pension payments, workspace upgrades, staff training, and the recruitment of 60 doctors for specialized training across 8 disciplines. Wike also expressed concern over the ongoing strike by area council workers and assured that the approved 4.1 billion naira will address wage issues. Moving ahead, Investment and Securities CBN raises 855 billion naira in oversubscribed open market auction. The Central Bank of Nigeria has raised 804.85 billion naira at its open market operations auctions on Monday as investors' demand for high-yield, long-tenor bills remained strong amid surging inflation and excess liquidity. The auction recorded an oversubscription of 111%, with total bills reaching 1057 trillion naira, though slightly below the record-setting auction held days earlier, where 1.008 trillion naira was raised. Of the two bills on offer, investors heavily favored the 350-day notes, which matures in April 2026, drawing 923.60 billion naira in bids over 3 times its 250 billion naira offer. The CBN allotted 695.60 billion naira at a stop rate of 22.73%, reinforcing market expectations that interest rates will stay elevated. In contrast, the 329-day bill saw weak demand, attracting 133.25 billion naira and securing just 106.25 billion naira in allotments. The strong turnout hides a sustained petition for risk-free return in an economic grappling with 24.23% inflation and rapid monetary expansion. In a very significant move for the second time in a row, Souq News Television wins SME-centric television station of the year 2025 award at the just concluded 5th Nigeria National SME Business Award 2025. The event, put together by the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, ASPON, in collaboration with Lagos State Ministry of Commerce, Cooperatives, Trade and Innovation, honored a number of businesses that have contributed positively to the business landscape. Souq News Television, a business-friendly organization which is using its platform to support businesses from different sectors, was again recognized for its outstanding contributions. Event-themed sustainable business practices, the new competitive advantage for SMEs, welcomed key industry players from private and government organizations. In an interview, Idahosa Osamaze shed light on what continues to earn them this award, emphasizing the need for continuous commitment and support for SME. Wrapping up on industry and entertainment, film industry, Nigeria's box office hit 3.48 billion naira in first quarter 2025. The Nigeria's film industry has achieved a major breakthrough, recording 3.48 billion naira in box office revenue in the first quarter of 2025, according to data from the Cinema Exhibitors Association of Nigeria, CEN. This marks a 54.7% increase from the 2.25 billion naira posted in first quarter 2024 and a 132% rise compared to the same period in 2023. Thus, growth signals a strong recovery for cinemas and growing consumer interest in theatrical experiences. Cinema admissions also saw an upward trend, with 661.801 tickets sold between January and March 2025, up 10.9% from the same period last year. Industry experts attribute the surge to engaging local productions and an improved film lineup. Nigerian titles like Alakada, Bad and Bogie, and Everybody Loves Jennifer performed exceptionally well, alongside international hits such as Mufasa. The Lion King and Moana, leading figures in Nollywood, including Funke Akindele and Toyin Abraham, played key roles in drawing audiences to cinema. And that's a wrap on the midday news on Souq News Television. Do well to join us on all our social media platforms at Souq News TV. And join us again at 3 p.m. for another broadcast. Before you go, Priye and his team will be having a chat on some of the today's top stories as you've heard. I am Grace Komalafe. Stay with us.
What keeps the heartbeat of a community alive? Is it the courage to create, the power to connect, the vision to transform? Well, it's all of this and more. It's a symphony of ideas, innovation, and industry. But where do these stories come alive? It's right here on The Isle, 104.9 FM, the station where dreams meet action and growth finds its voice. The Isle, 104.9. Business, economy, development. Stay tuned.
Of the year 2025, and the winner is Souq News Television.
Thank you. On behalf of the National SME Business Award, the year 2025, we are presenting you SME-centric television station of the year 2025. Winner, of course, is Souq News Television. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Broadcast. Thank you, sir. And to present the next award will be the National Vice President. I think content they say today is king in the media. What we're doing today is that nobody's creating content for you, you're actually creating your own content. Take for example, you produce granite and you're showing on your mobile phone, for example, the process that you take to produce this granite has come to the market, and people are looking at it and they say, oh, how hygienic that you are. They're not just buying something because you also find it. Because there are too many narratives in the social media, for example, today, people believe that there are some certain things that want to buy chips on the road and say, oh, they are using chemical to produce it. Now, this discourages a lot of people from participating. But if you create content to show, for example, from your oil, how it's genuine.
Wole Soyinka, born Akiwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka on July 13, 1934, in Abeokuta, Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, stands as one of Africa's most celebrated literary figures and a global icon of resistance against oppression. His life and works reflect an unwavering commitment to justice, culture, and the transformative power of arts. Soyinka was born into a Yoruba family in colonial Nigeria, an environment that exposed him to both traditional African culture and Western education. His father, Samuel Ayodele Soyinka, was a school headmaster, while his mother, Grace Eniola Soyinka, was a devoted Anglican. This blend of indigenous and colonial influences deeply shaped Soyinka's world. Soyinka attended Government College Ibadan and later proceeded to the University College Ibadan, where he studied English and literature. Soyinka completed his education at the University of Leeds in England, earning a degree in English and later a doctorate degree. In the late 1950s, Soyinka began working as a dramaturgist at the Royal Court Theatre in London. However, his passion for storytelling and cultural preservation drew him back to Nigeria, where he founded two theatre groups known as the 1960 Masque and the Orisun Theatre Company. Soyinka's works, often a fusion of Western dramatic techniques and African themes, address universal issues of justice, freedom, and human dignity. His early play, titled A Dance of the Forest, which was introduced in 1960, written to celebrate Nigeria's independence, critically examined the nation's socio-political trajectory, setting the tone for his career as both artist and activist. Soyinka's activism became more visible during Nigeria's post-independence years. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he called for a ceasefire between federal forces and Biafran separatists. This led to his arrest by the military government, and he spent 22 months in prison, where he wrote a short drama titled The Man Died. Prison Notes, a harrowing account of his imprisonment and a profound critique of authoritarianism. Soyinka has authored more than 20 works, including plays, novels, poetry, and essays. In 1986, Soyinka became the first African to win the Nobel Prize of Literature, an achievement that brought global recognition to African literature. Soyinka remained an outspoken critic of oppressive regimes, often at great personal risk. His activism extended beyond Nigeria, addressing global issues of injustice and human rights. During periods of military rule in Nigeria, he went into exile, continuing to write and speak against tyranny. Today, Soyinka is celebrated not only as a literary giant, but also as a symbol of resilience and moral courage.
Eko Atlantic has become Nigeria's most sought-after city for its high-end infrastructure, prestige, and well-planned city layout, as reflected in an 8-lane boulevard, about 13 internal bridges, underground cables, and green footprints defined by over 30,000 trees. Additionally, having a building in the city has become a trend among the so-called big boys, as was the case with Old Ikoyi, Victoria Garden City, popularly called VGC, Osborne Foreshore, and now Banana Island. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye states that this talk of "I belong" and the prestige mentality has also spread to the big firms. Before now, Kingsway and Ozumba Mbadiwe used to say that Victoria Island were the go-to locations for high-rise office buildings. These locations are home to iconic developments such as Kingsway Towers, Heritage Palace, Fanfa Towers, the Wings and the Waves, among others, making them Nigeria's equivalent of Silicon Valley. The Eko Atlantic City was modeled after the skyscraper district of Manhattan Island in New York City. It has become the new destination for big-ticket corporate firms which are building or relocating their new headquarters to the 10-square-kilometer city, rising off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean in Lagos. The city is attracting investment interests in both residential and commercial real estate, the latest being MTN Nigeria, preparing to build a new headquarters. MTN is coming on the heels of First Bank, which recently turned the turf to build a 40-floor corporate head office, making the city's most iconic development so far. Prior to this courageous and ambitious entry into Eko City by MTN, First Bank, Dangote Group, and the Embassy of the United States of America have taken positions there, developing a new head office and a diplomatic facility respectively. Much earlier, a co-development company had occupied the city as the developer of the Azuri Towers, offering both residential and commercial facilities for high clients and corporate bodies. Arkaland Property Investment and Oak Homes are also in the city, developing A&A Towers simultaneously. These are the residential developments that will be standing on the 22nd floor and the 33rd floors respectively. Other developments are the Pan-African Towers by Periwinkle Residences, Eko Pearl with Champagne Tower and Eko Pearl Black Tower, Amni Towers and Ani International Petroleum Development Company, and Louisville Towers by Total Energy Staff Cooperative and Multipurpose Society. Louisville will comprise 300 residential homes spread between 2 towers, a world-class sporting center and a club, retail outlets, and other facilities. It is designed to employ modern technology to achieve smart living and high standards. Eko Atlantic is an exclusive luxury city with superior infrastructure that appeals to the kind of investors we have seen in the city so far.
Imagine a world without the roar of a lion, the flight of an eagle, or the rhythmic dance of ocean waves teeming with life. Wildlife is more than just the animals, their natural habitat. It is the lifeblood of our ecosystems, shaping the environment and maintaining nature's delicate balance. Yet, with each passing year, human activities threaten this balance. Deforestation, habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change are pushing many species to the brink of extinction. That is why World Wildlife Day is marked on every March 3rd, a global call to action to protect and preserve the rich biodiversity that sustains life on Earth. It is a reminder that wildlife is not just about the animals, it is about us, our survival, our food, our medicine, our future. Wildlife Conservation Finance, investing in people and planet, shines on a spotlight the urgent need for sustainable funding to protect ecosystems. It highlights the role of financial investment in safeguarding both wildlife and human livelihoods, because when we invest in nature, we invest in ourselves. From individuals to policymakers, businesses to conservationists, every tree saved, every habitat protected, and every species conserved is a step towards securing a healthier planet for future generations. As humans, let's act before it's too late. The fate of wildlife is in our hands, and in saving them, we just might be saving ourselves. Chike Okolo, Souq News Television.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
The growing interest in Nigeria's lithium reserves comes as countries worldwide scramble to secure supplies of the mineral which is essential for powering the green energy revolution. In this special report by Bayo Olaoye, the need to harness this resource for growth and development is examined, with the evolution of electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems. Lithium is a key component in the production of batteries for electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems, and Nigeria is positioning itself to become a major player in the global lithium market. Nigeria's vast lithium reserves, valued over $34 billion, is no doubt attracting world attention, while lithium factories are springing up in different parts of Nigeria already. The attention of the international mining industry is also focused on lithium because it is critical raw material for the production of solar panels and electric vehicles. Analysts predict that global lithium market could grow robustly over the next decade, driven by the rapid adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies. Data from a global future market insight showed that the lithium mining industry has emerged as a cornerstone of the clean energy transition, driven by the skyrocketing demand for lithium-ion batteries. The surge in lithium demand is driven largely by the electric vehicles market, which accounted for over 70% of the global lithium consumption in 2024, according to an Iranian-based research firm. With countries such as the United States, China, and members of the European Union pushing for next zero emission by mid-century, lithium demand is expected to escalate further. The federal government, indeed, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, should intensify efforts geared at renewing and resuscitating the viable lithium industry in the country to its full potential. As Nigeria diversifies its economy into other sectors, the lithium industry offers hope and expectation that this sector would earn more revenue for the country. Nigeria should not just watch with folded arms, but must strive with the political will to develop and strengthen the country's vast lithium reserves.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Good day to you and welcome. We're reaching you live from our studios at Souq News Television. My name is Oyin Priye Krumale. We will be taking a look at three critical key stories that was discussed or broadcasted in the news by Grace Komolafe, because it has a critical alignment with the Nigerian economy, but I will not be doing that by myself. Hello to you, Chooks John Rogers. We will be talking about sports today.
Thank you very much, Priya. It's always nice being here with you.
Okay. And, of course, Olumide Shokoya.
Glad to have you here, Priya.
Okay. Straight into the business of the day. Nigeria is set to fully repay its $3.32 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund by the end of 2029. We should be done with that. The loan disbursed in April 2020 under the Rapid Financing Instrument is said to be held to cushion the economy from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, including a sharp drop in oil prices and recession. According to the International Monetary Fund's latest data, the repayment will span from 2025 to 2029, with $446.21 million due this year and about $36.1 million annually from 2026 onward. This year alone, we will be paying more than $400 million to the IMF, 2025. That loan is going to commence from this year. And from 2026, we'll be paying about $36.1 million. So what came to my mind is, okay, how much is the budget for this year? Because I remember vividly in the previous administration, we're spending over 70% of our internally generated revenue to service debt. It doesn't look like we've left that conversation yet. Mr. Chooks, what's your perspective?
I had to just keep quiet and listen to you land on this. Let's be a bit factual and tell ourselves some good truths. So when the slap hits, we know where it's going to pay. A percentage of our budget this year is going to be financed through borrowing. And now, that particular budget that we are looking at financing, via borrowing, we are going to service debt that we borrowed. Now, this administration did not take that debt. If possible, at a point in time, we're thinking of any administration that come on board and take a loan from anywhere before that administration should leave. They should pay that loan. That's a policy that is positive and something we should say, yes, let's hold on to it. Now, let's come to this narrative. Who's pushing it out? IMF. Who is giving? IMF. Who is collecting? IMF. Who is telling us when and where and how much is going to be paid? IMF. This is not coming from the federal government. It's not coming from the budget office. It's not coming from the National Statistics Office. It's not coming from the presidency. So now, whose narrative? What exactly are they trying to tell us? Pay up. And they are still giving us some more. It's that same circle of debt trap. It's the same thing. They are the ones benefiting. And also remember that this particular monies that came with, in quote, things you had to do to collect it.
Conditions.
Not if you say conditions, it will look, okay, conditions. Things we had to do to collect it. Who is suffering at the end of the day? The Nigerians are suffering because a lot of their subsidies had to be cut to get these monies in the first place. Now you give it to us. You say, do this, do that. We do it, we do that. You now give it to us, and we'll pay you back. Hope you know they are making profits.
Okay, but, you know, Olumide, let's look at it from another perspective. Okay. Whilst I'm of the school of thought that no government in the nation, including the United States of America, as rich as they are, including China, they are owing. So nations are bound to collect some form of loans to facilitate other aspects of their economy that, you know, they can't readily access raw materials to develop. But on our own case, it looks like Nigerians were always raising our voices that government don't collect tax, don't collect loans. You are selling and mortgaging the future of Nigeria. If we don't collect these loans, are we going to facilitate other aspects of our budget and other critical aspects of our economy?
It's not about collecting the loan. It's about what are you putting in place to repay that loan. You remember what happened that one of our flights, or plane rather, was seized. Remember that whole fiasco?
A presidential plane to be specific.
Presidential
not just one of our flights.
You remember it was just close to the time we heard they got a new jet. It's a lie, you're not getting a new jet. So it's not about you borrowing. Yes, just like you rightly said, countries need debt to finance so many things, and of course, but making provisions to pay this thing is what matters. Now, we heard that before, after the subsidy was removed, we were saving 1 trillion naira. I wonder what happened to that, and I hope the 1 trillion
before
naira,
the subsidy was removed, or after the subsidy was removed,
rather,
yeah.
we've been saving 1 trillion naira. So I hope that it's this 1 trillion naira we are using to pay back the debt. That's my own.
but
I hope so.
Gentlemen.
Because the people will suffer for these loans that are being collected.
Okay, I remember vividly myself, Dr. Dausa, and we were talking about this issue, and there was a statistical, analysis of how much each Nigerians were owing.
Over 100,000, almost 200,000.
Naira.
As of then, 178.
As of then, thank you.
178,000 each Nigerian for
each
over
Nigerian.
240 million people.
Okay.
Well, okay. I don't want to be sarcastic by asking you if you have paid your own portion.
Was that monthly, or was it quarterly, or was it per annum?
No, probably when we all come together to put that money on the desk, then we could pay back. Okay. The Buhari administration collected this money in 2020.
Exactly.
So by 2030, they expected us to have paid this money.
2029.
By 2029, they expected Nigeria to have fully paid the money. However, they are not going to start collecting the money back from Nigeria until 5 years after.
This year.
Which is this year. So there's this gap that was given to the economy to be able to recoup or invest that money in specific areas for us to recoup the money, to recoup at least our first tranche of paying back to the International Monetary Fund. Do you think we've been able to do that?
Let's ask ourselves this first question. What was the money used for in the first place?
I was going to ask that.
COVID-19, to ameliorate the harsh economy.
Oh, good. That's English.
To cushion the effect.
Okay. Yeah. To cushion the effect that came with COVID-19 pandemic.
Can you break it down for my mechanic that is fixing the car to understand?
Okay, some of the packages.
Which one?
That Nigerians looted,
looted
from these warehouses were supposed to be part of it.
Okay. Those ones that now you said they looted. Remember, there was also a COVID-19 fund that came from corporate Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. So I can also tell you that those particular ones that were in those warehouses came from corporate Nigeria. So can somebody account or tell us exactly what these billions were used for? In specific terms, and not just put COVID-19 on it.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, I would have loved us to consider to continue on that line of conversation. However, we still have two other stories to deal with here. However, you have asked a very, very important and a very, very critical question. And I think it's not a rhetorical question. I think the National Assembly that has been saddled with the responsibility of carrying out oversight functions to look into the activities of the executive arm of government, we're going to put some of these questions into consideration and to begin to give us, another view of things. But we have another story that, begs for the attention, and that had to do with oil and gas. The landing costs of premium motor spirit, PMS, popularly called petrol, has now averaged 870 naira per liter, reported by the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria. It has shown that this is even as the price offered by Dangote Petroleum Refinery threatened the margins of fuel importers and marketers alike. According to the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, the landing cost of petrol was 872 naira per liter on April 28 and 868 naira per liter as of April 29. Now, this is the point where I want to get to. On April 23rd, the landing cost averaged 859 naira per liter, indicating that the cost of import petrol has now risen above Dangote Refinery's announced ex-depot price of petrol of 835 naira per liter, with the landing cost rising. Importers of the petroleum products seem to be having challenges selling their products at profitable rates. I don't know why you are laughing, but maybe you should tell us why you're laughing.
Okay. I think every one of us on this table will remember 1999, 2000, 2001. Obasanjo, pre-Obasanjo, but he was one that brought it to light. Telecoms.
Yes.
Nitel all of a sudden Nitel was almighty. Nitel died on his own because they couldn't manage it. Then somebody was making calls for 1 minute for 50 naira, if you remember very well. People were buying SIM cards for 24 naira officially, 24,000 naira officially.
Yes.
How much is SIM card today? They can even dash your SIM card. Open the market up. Let's be true to ourselves. Open the market up. It's a free market. If I decide to go to Côte d'Ivoire and go and import fuel and land it in Nigeria for 2,000 naira, and Dangote decides to refine his in Nigeria and refine it for 200 naira, let it be. Take that regulation out. There are things we are not considering. Is the government for the people of Nigeria, or government is for the marketers of fuel?
Okay, so
these are things we should ask ourselves the question.
Yeah, you were talking about opening the market up, and I think let's look at it from this perspective. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, has opened the market up. And
to what extent?
It opened the market to not only to Dangote Refinery, but to other modular refineries in the country. And it has equally done its own bit, and I would say done well, by going in line with the policy the crude for Naira obligation, the crude for Naira exchange obligation, which seemed to be a debate. That seemed to be a debate recently. It seemed to be a very hot debate recently, and they came back to the table and they saw the reason why they should open the market and to make sure that they continue that line of policy because it will be beneficial to Nigeria. And we all saw the reflection of the sustenance of that and how it impacted the Nigerian Naira in the international market, in the foreign exchange market. So Olumide, are you not going to say that they've done their bit? Are you not going to say they've done their bit, opening the market up?
How did they actually open the market?
Oh, of course they did. Because now they are selling petrol of crude to Dangote and to other modular refineries for Naira, which is the dollar equivalent.
Is that happening as we speak?
Of course it's happening.
On paper or as we speak?
As we speak, it's happening.
Okay.
Because if it's not happening, how come the landing cost for Dangote now reduced? And that of those who are importing into the country is on the high side.
Can I ask a question on the media? I want you to speak on this. If we say we need FX, we need almighty FX, why spend the one we have giving to importers to go outside and go and import fuel? When we can produce it here.
But the importers were not. The importers were not forced.
You said
they were not forced.
But if we say we are government and government needs this FX, please help me out. Like, I saw you calculating things on paper. Please help me out. If we say we need these dollars, pounds, euros, any one of them, how come we are giving it to these same business people to go and spend outside to bring before refine here?
Fine. Before Lumide come in, let me even say this. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, in its own, will I call it, being responsible to the Nigerian market. The Dangote refinery requires 650,000 barrels. 650, and NNPCL will be supplying 350,000, that which is more than half. Do remember that Dangote refinery is the largest even in West Africa, if not the whole Africa, and one of the forces to be reckoned with when it comes to oil and gas and production and refining capacity internationally. So if the NNPCL is obligated to give 350, and let's assume they are doing 350, and they are not only obligated to Dangote Petroleum, they are equally obligated to other modular refineries in the country that are locally refining. So it has opened up the market. However, we could say these other companies and modular refineries are not having the full capacity. So Dangote needs to go to Angola. No, I'm just giving you some of the reasons why we need to put some of this because these are facts. Dangote needed to go to Angola. Dangote needs to go to Angola to make sure it can equally access some of the crude to meet up with 650,000 barrels. If NNPCL is giving it 350, then we can say
there is Walter Smith. Is Walter Smith refining?
There's Walter Smith.
Are they refining as we speak? There is Niger Delta are they refining as we speak? There are smaller modular refineries in Imo State and some part in Niger Delta. Are they refining as we speak? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. The federal government came out, okay, let's leave federal government. NNPCL came up and said, Warri is working, Port Harcourt is working. Are they refining as we speak? These are things that we need to ask ourselves. Dangote, mind you, no matter how big or how good they are trying, is a private business.
He has to make profit.
And for us to get to where it will profit Nigerians, more people need to play in this field.
Yes.
That is what the truth is. Can I also ask you a question? Who does NNPCL belong to?
It belongs to the government.
Belongs to.
Who
does the government belong to?
You know the answer.
I don't know the answer. You help me. No. If we say the government belongs to the people, then what stops you if it's Dangote that is working now, in quote, that is working now, what stops you from giving him the entire crew that he wants? If it's difficult, give him an oil block and tell him to go and drill yourself. Let's get these things working because it's Nigerians that will profit in the long run.
How would it be the
Dangote refinery alone gave issues to Europe. Several refineries down there are going on half production because of him. And you think they will keep quiet and let him work?
But it is a competitive field. And I heard even Dangote himself, when he was being interviewed, that he never knew that it's quite a dangerous field to veer into. That if he had known, he wouldn't have jumped into it. But now he's already in the river and he's got to swim.
Yes, he said
so, if Dangote, if NNPCL said that we can't afford to give you 650,000 barrels, why is the NNPCL?
What is the logical reason?
The reason, that is what I want to talk about. The reason. Now, do remember that the major aspect or the major earnings of Forex to the country in Nigeria is dependent on our sale of petrol products. Just a moment, Mr. Chooks. Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. So we earn our forex from selling crude to the foreign in dollars. We sell in dollars. So now, if we are going to, deploy all our crude, we're going to deploy all our crude and exchange it for naira to Dangote and exchange it for naira to all modular refineries in the country. The entire capacity, the 1.5 million barrels per day that we are producing. If we give it out to the Nigerian investors in exchange for naira, how much will be left for the NNPCL to exchange this with other foreign markets that we are supplying, we are obligated to supply, so we can earn forex and earn in hard currency dollar for us to even cushion the effect of balance of payments in Nigeria. Of course, no, that's another rational point to look at it from.
Okay, now, can we, please, I need you to support me on this. For 60-something years, we've been conditioned to believe what is coming from the West. For 60-something years, we've been conditioned to follow what they say. Who told you that it is these 2.2 million barrels that we must produce?
No, that's the target. That's a target by the current administration.
OPEC quota. Every country has an OPEC quota. Good and fine. We can give them their OPEC quota 2.2. That is for export. What comes inside here is ours. Nobody can stand up and tell me not to feed my family, that my family must eat 2 loaves of bread in a day. Who born you? That is wrong.
No.
No. We have to get.
And I think we have to be mindful of our language. We have to be mindful of our language. We have to be mindful of. No. I did just a moment. No. Wait. Sorry. We have to be mindful of our language.
Okay.
Great. Now,
mindful of our language.
Yes. When I mean mindful of our language, that as it is in alignment with broadcast ethics. Great.
Thank you.
So now, if we
hold on. I listened to you for a while, right?
Yes, you did, and I have done that.
The present administration have done well. First, they let the refinery work. The Seplat issue, Tinubu sorted it out in matter of days. Matter of days. What do you think he can't do if he stands and say, hey, these modular refineries, if you have to be oil fields, give it to them. If it has to be whatever we can do for them to get what they need, give it to them.
There's a misconception.
There is no misconception here. We are the ones that decide to stay in the box.
No. We are not. So you want to say something?
My question is, the modular refineries, the Port Harcourt, why can't we just make this thing work?
Now, we have to understand that modular refineries are not owned. So not all modular refineries.
The funniest things, we have illegal refineries working
before Dangote
and we don't have our own working. How is that even possible in this giant of Africa that we call ourselves?
Okay, great. Now, not all modular refineries are owned by the Nigerian government. Some of them, if not majority of them, are owned by private investors. 100%. And the government is not going to dole out funds to give to private investors to be able to buy crude in naira, to be able to sell and make profit for themselves. Now, you have to, and the major, because that's the picture you're painting. Just a moment. We are due for a break.
Like this particular break.
We are due for a break right now. So we'll go on a break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Do stay with us.
We've got
got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
What keeps the heartbeat of a community alive? Is it the courage to create, the power to connect, the vision to transform? Well, it's all of this and more. It's a symphony of ideas, innovation, and industry. But where do these stories come alive? It's right here on The Isle, 104.9 FM, the station where dreams meet action and growth finds its voice. The Isle, 104.9. Business, economy, development. Stay tuned.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website www.adstudiescenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. We've taken a look at two stories, that quite caught our attention. And the third one, we're veering off completely away from the norm. And it has to do with entertainment, and it has to do with the Nigerian movie and film industry. So, cinema admissions, have seen the increase and barrage of people in that specific sector. However, where did it all start from? The Nigerian film has achieved a major breakthrough, recording 3.48 billion naira in box office revenue in the first quarter of 2025. According to data from the Cinema Exhibitors Association of Nigeria, this marks a 54.7% increase from the 2.25 billion naira posted in the first quarter of 2024. The same period in 2023, it recorded 132% rise and compared to that of 2024. Now, this growth signals a very, very strong recovery from the cinemas and growing consumers' interest in the theatrical experiences. Cinema admissions also saw an upward trend with 661,801 tickets being sold between January and March 2025, up to 10.9% from the same period last year. Industry experts attribute the surge to engaging local productions and an improved film lineup. Nigerian titles like Alakada, Hope I got that right. Bad and Bougie and Everybody Loves Jennifer performed exceptionally well alongside international hits such as Mufasa, The Lion King, and Moana 2. Leading figures in the Nollywood, including Funke Akindele and Toyin Abraham, played key roles in drawing audiences to cinema. If there's one thing I am certain of that we have achieved as a country without the direct and explicit input of government in terms of rapid growth is the Nigerian movie industry. And even the blind can see that. I dare say even the deaf could hear that.
Yes.
Olumide,
Yes.
do you have a contrary perspective?
No, I actually do agree with you. I mean, last year, 2 films, I think Queen Latifah and Farmer's Bride, they grossed in about 400 million in just weeks.
400 million naira.
Yes, in just weeks last year. So, just like you rightly said, they've somehow excelled without the direct intervention of the federal government. And I think it is something we need to encourage more. Not just, you mentioned Funke Akindele and Toyin Abraham. If we can have more of these producers, film producers, come into, we can also have investors, because we need investors, because these 2 people, they can't do it alone. And I think they are contributing about 1% to the GDP of the country. So, but if now, imagine if we have 10 more investors, imagine. And funny enough, some of the Hollywood big wigs, they are coming to Nigeria, they are taking some of our stories and they are producing it. Why can't we? Nigeria has so many stories, so many past histories that we can bring into life and really, really, shoot our culture out there. So this is kudos to Funke Akindele and those that are actually trying to do something in the movie industry.
Okay, storytelling, Chooks. If I were told when I was a kid that storytelling could fetch how much it's fetching today, I wouldn't have believed it. Would you have believed it if you were told the same?
Yes, I believed it right from the beginning.
Storytelling.
I've always been around storytellers, so I grew up around there, and we all tell stories. That's why we work here, and it's an industry that it's possible to go against the big industries. Most times people look at pop culture. It's the media that is pushing pop culture. People look at the American culture. It's the media, it's the film. A lot of the major things we get to see happen now is majorly from the films. So when we talk about this particular monies that we get to see today, honestly, if you ask me, I will say good, but it can get better. Why do I say so? Now, one single movie outside this climb, let's not call names, we gross $1 billion.
In dollars or in naira?
$1 billion in dollars. One single movie. The particular one, I don't want to call their names because we're not giving them free marketing. The particular one you called about earlier when we were talking about this particular story, it grossed over $1 billion in a matter of
$1 billion.
Yes, in a matter of weeks. Several of them in a matter of weeks. So now, if we can have those particular movies that are not ours, not produced by us, shown in our cinemas here, we should also start having that same effect where our own movies can also be shown in their own cinemas, because that is where money is made. You can't tell me that Funke Akindele or Toyin or Richard work is not as good as what they are producing outside this country. It's not possible. So we need more people to get into the cinemas and see our movies. This is where that collaboration needs to come in. This is where government needs to come in. It's not all about funding. They have created a product. Now, how can we get that product to the world? When you see box office, when it comes to IMDA or outside this country, box office is worldwide box office. So they tell you box office, this particular movie grossed $1 billion. It's worldwide. So when they are celebrating their $1 billion, Nigerian money is involved. So we also want to start seeing where if a producer in Nigeria is pushing a product to the cinema, if it's released in Nigeria, let it be released in South Africa, let it be released in China, let it be released in Australia, let it be released in the US. And this is where government can play. And these major cinemas will be part of it. Once government push and say, okay, if you are taking your product, you will take ours too.
But there's this sort of, first of all, I wanted to know what changed that led to the sudden rise, the sudden, jump and coming to light by the Nigerian movie industry. And I realized that there's lots of technology behind movie production. The cameras and the work, the script writers, the kind of cameras that are used, the kind of lighting that are used, and they are quite capital intensive, which made me to start looking at the instances where investors would have to come in, and convincing investors to come in and invest their money, their hard-earned money, because you want to tell a story.
You are looking at it
yes, because if you look at some of the big players you talked about, they are executive producers.
Exactly.
They are producers, and they are also one of the directors in the movie. That's because they're not just coming in with their intellectual materials that they are coming to sell because of the stories they write. They are also coming in with a lot of money to invest, because you need to show other investors whose attention you're trying to bring on board that, look, I trust in my vision, so I'm putting out ₦1 billion for that purpose. And if I'm coming to you for 500 million naira, I think as a smart investor, you should be able to jump in, seeing the track record that that producer or that actor must have laid. Is it that we do not have, or our products still fall short of global reckoning or global standard? That's why we are still having that bottleneck penetrating the international market, because you spoke about how Nigerians have not been able to still sell their products in those climes.
Okay, now, for the international market, there are a lot of bottlenecks, aside government. Now, if we look at the major platforms, none of them is owned by Africans. Major platforms, aside the cinemas, cinema chains, Nigerians, South Africans, and some other countries, but major platform, the Netflix,
yes,
the Amazon, the Google Plus, all of them, none of them is owned by a Nigerian or an African. And these are places where major blockbusters rake in billions. Now, Nigerian movies and pictures are getting on Netflix. That's good. Even if there's still a whole lot of questions to be asked. Getting on Amazon Plus, that's good. Getting on Google Play. But now, the issue is this. Until we have a legislation that backs this product, and if you are taking a Nigerian product, if you fall foul, somebody somewhere is going to draw the hammer. We will treat it with a lot of seriousness. I don't know if you understand. Let me give you an example. Some years back, the James Bond movie, I won't call him, let's just leave it at James Bond. One of the James Bond movie premiered here in Nigeria. You know who came to premiere the movie? The ambassador.
Okay.
The ambassador came to the theaters at that premiere and stood at the door and was shaking the hands of everybody that was walking through that door, because they know it is money to their economy. I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
So if they can go that far, that tells you that even the cinema chain will not play foul to that particular product. I don't know if you understand. So until we see it as a business and a product that can earn foreign exchange for us, we won't treat it that way. Now, the oil industry has so messed up our psyche that we are waiting for buy, sell, collect profit, forgetting that there are other means to make a whole lot of money. Movies is one particular product that even after 10, 50, 40, 100 years,
royalties,
you will still make money.
Yes.
You will still make money off it. Now, getting investors to key into it is another thing that is taking time, because they don't understand it. They don't understand it. We went for a workshop just 2 weeks ago, and because of one single mistake, we had to shoot for 2 extra days. But now, how do I explain to someone that is financing that, see what happen or see what happen? I don't know. So these are things that we need to be able to package well so that an investor can understand. Then also on the side of the filmmaker, we need to come out clean. Some years ago, the Bank of Industry, our neighbors here, had a particular department that they funded movies for a while. Now they produce Souq, they produce some other good that did good at the cinemas. Some other people, big names also, went there and collected this particular funds and did substandard movies. So you see, it's a two-way traffic. If you do something bad today and the person that does not even understand what you're doing very well is losing money, he won't come tomorrow.
Okay, great.
All right, I also want to quickly chip in something. Another thing that the movie industry is facing in Nigeria is piracy. Now, when you say piracy, I'm not saying you go to Alaba and you see the films. I'm talking about these platforms that post these films. You can imagine if I'm a producer, I spend 300 million to produce a film. And by the second week, it's on these platforms, Telegram and the rest of them. How many people would want to go and watch it in the cinema? Let's be honest with ourselves. You want to watch a film at the cinema and you can already download it, even if it's low quality, on a platform. You will. So just like he said, we need legislations, good legislations that can, in a way, phase out all this. So some of these platforms, they know. Once they know that, oh, if I post this particular video on my platform, I'll get sanctioned, or I might even go to jail or pay a fine. You know, that way we can also curb piracy, because a lot of these producers are complaining. So a particular producer, I don't want to mention his name, he said he sold properties to produce a film. Now, how will he explain to his wife or whoever that I actually sold my house?
Or the investors.
Or the investors. So this is another area where I think the government can actually come in. Because while we are praising Funke Akindeles and Toye Abrams, there are also some people who are trying, but you know,
to rise up the stakes. I see. Now, for everyone, yes, the government has a major role to play, and there are other movie makers who are, you know, burgeoning this at the border level, and it's not only in Lagos. Everybody seems to want to make it down to Lagos. There are movie makers in Port Harcourt, there are movie makers in Kano State, there are movie makers in Ebonyi, in Benue State, in Delta. And in the 36 states, there are movie makers. And of course, if the Central Bank of Nigeria is going to be speaking to commercial banks that, look, in this budgetary year, we want you to channel some of your loans to the agricultural sector, they should also consider the movie industry, so that the budding movie maker who have good stories to tell can have access to fund for a very, very low digit of interest, so that, you know, they can get wings and fly. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and this conversation. And this is where we'll have to draw the curtain for today's conversation. I know it's going to continue outside the camera, then when we go to our tables, but, you know, now we have to leave. My name is Oyin Priye Krumale. Many thanks for watching. Yeah.
Thank you very much for having us, and thank you for being there today. We'll do this again next time. Bye.
Many thanks for watching us. Let's do this again. I am Olumide Shokoya.